Hi, I'm Raj Punjabi from HuffPost.
And I'm Noah Michelson, also from HuffPost.
And we're the hosts of Am I Doing It Wrong?, a new podcast that explores the all-too-human anxieties we have about trying to get our lives right.
Each week on the podcast, Raj and I pick a new topic that we want to understand better and bring a guest expert on to talk us through how to get it right.
And we're talking like legit, credible experts. Doctors, PhDs, all-around superheroes.
From HuffPost and Acast Studios, check out Am I Doing It Wrong? Wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi guys, welcome to this week's episode of Fifth Metal Tones. From me, your podcast host, Tony Evans. I hope you enjoy this week's episode. It's an interview with Richard Mosley, the guitarist from Taliesin, the local progressive metal band here in Canberra, who have some beautiful, wonderful albums out and a great new EP that only came out on the last day of last year. So I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you learn something. I know I did. It was just nice to speak to one of the faces I see regularly around town playing at the basement and so on. So take it away, Tony. Take it away, Richard. Bye for now. Thanks for Richard for coming on. To local show, local band. It's a nice combination. For those that don't know you, listening, my audience around the world, this is Richard. Is it Mosley? Can I pronounce that correctly? Yep,
you did.
Richard Mosley from local progressive metal band Taliesin, and I said that right, didn't I?
You did. It's interesting. Yeah, part of the reason. I'll get into that later.
Yeah. Because it's one of those names that you know in your mind you read it out, because I know it's a Welsh word.
Yeah.
So being of a Welsh family stock, I sort of heard that before. But you're a local progressive metal musician, but you've been around. I mean, those that have lived in Canberra, if they haven't seen you in some form or another playing in Canberra, I think they've never gone out.
Yeah.
We've
been around since. So we started, in 95. We started
95, isn't it? I came here in 97. From London, and did you play Metal for the Brain?
Never, we didn't.
No. But you were around there though, weren't you? Hanging around there?
Yeah. So our first gig was in 97.
Yeah.
At the basement when it was called Pete's Bar and Bistro.
Oh my God, do you remember? That's a blast from the past, man. Oh God, I remember going there very early on, coming to Canberra, because it was the only place that and the green room there was there, and there was the Gypsy Bar, and that was the only places I used to go to, because it's the only place you got any live music, good decent live music here in Canberra, because it was the dark ages back then.
Unfortunately, the Gypsy Bar sort of replaced the Terminus, which was the place in the sort of late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, I wasn't here for that, unfortunately, but my darling wife, who was born and raised in Canberra, said, not born, but raised in Canberra, said, oh, yeah, she used to go to the Terminus. It's like, okay. Oh, there you go. So you've been around, so as I said, you've been around a long time. You've been, gigging heavily, and with a really relatively the same set lineup, isn't it? There's not been much change.
Yeah, so we've basically had 6 members in different formations. So we started off as a 5-piece with myself, Dave, the singer, Wayne, the drummer, Ruben, who is currently back in Australia for a short time, but he was on guitar and keyboards, and we had Kristen was our first bass player.
Yeah.
And then back in 99, they did the year before the Olympics, Dave disappeared for a year to do this Follow the Flame or something it was called.
Yes.
So he toured all the rural places in Australia over I don't know exactly what was going on with it, just like here's the flame, here's some
it's still running through a town. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So he disappeared for a year, so we sort of took turns, me and Ruben, trying to sing lead vocals and play guitar, which was they probably would have been pretty crap gigs to go and see.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then then Ruben moved over to the States, so we became a 4-piece. That was just after the Canberra fires.
Oh gosh,
Yeah,
which
'cause
one?
he's-
2003 or the? No, it was 2003. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because his wife is astronomer, so it kind of
Oh,
so they had to move over to Boston, Hawaii, do some stuff.
yeah.
So we were a 4-piece then, and then Ruben came back, and the bass player Kristen had left, so Ruben came back and started playing bass for us. So we were still a 4-piece, and then finally we got Turk, our bass player, involved because Ruben really wanted to get back to playing guitar, which is fair enough.
Well, it's fair enough. I'm a bass player, but I can't stand playing guitar. I love guitar, but I don't like doing it. I can see where people swap over, right? Yeah. So
And
that's
then Ruben left again.
It's like Spinal Tap.
Yeah, he moved back to Boston, so a couple of years back.
Yeah, because he's on. I'm going to show you. If people will be listening to this on their podcast, but I'll put it on the video. But you can see I'm showing the first EP, which is the Tally of Lies and Sin, which is one of my favorite CDs, and he's on that, I believe.
He played a little bit of keyboard on that, I think.
He did a little bit of keyboard. He's there somewhere, like twiddling in the background.
He came back and played on it when he came back for a visit. We were still working on it. So.
As you do. You know more than anyone, being a local musician, it's not easy. It's not suddenly Justin Bieber kind of money flowing through. You got to keep your day jobs. You got to do you live your lives and also try and then create great music. It's really hard to do. And I really appreciate what you do. What you do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, we never made any money, so going in, we probably should have a lot more stuff released in theory. On the arc of a band's career, sort of being around for 10 years without releasing anything, and then another 7 or 8 years, no, probably 15 years between the Tally of Lies and Sin and Faceless. Just
yeah, and it's and also not just that, but for people that haven't listened to it, if you listen to Tally of Lies and Sin, which is an EP, and then Faceless, the musical arc, you can hear the difference. You can hear the growth in the musical arc. You may not have been recording all that time, but gigging and playing, you refine your art form. And there's not saying, I said again, it's not saying that because I love this, but the Faceless is a little bit more grown up. Is that correct? I don't want to sound bad, but it sounds a bit more mature, I think is the term.
Yeah, it was an interesting one to record because it was actually it's a concept album. Usually with concept albums, they're all you've got a story, and you set the songs to try and, in theory, fit the mood of each song and what's happening in the story. And this one was written completely ass backwards. They were all written to drum. Every song was written to an existing drum track, so it's just drums. A song to drums. So, and the drum tracks were quite different. There was a slow bluesy one, some songs with brushes, some faster songs. So I just wrote songs to fit the drums, and then it's like, all right, cool, got an album's worth of stuff here.
Let's get it out.
Write some lyrics. Or let's write some lyrics.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think there was the song "The Wilderness." There was a drum intro, just a few hits at the start. I was like, what can I? There's nothing musical I could do with that really. It's just that's just a few random hits. So I just chucked. I think it was a Russell Brand podcast. So I just needed 10 or 15 seconds of talking at the start.
Yeah.
And he was talking about committing sex crimes in the forest.
Oh, God, yeah.
So that's where the song "The Wilderness" came from. And then the story sort of I wonder if we could write a story about a guy who, does bad shit.
Does bad shit in forests.
Yeah. Amongst other places too, yeah. So that's basically how the story came about. And I was just trying to find the songs that fit lyrics to fit the song. So
I think it's really brave to go. I love progressive music, so progressive music's my background. Yes, Genesis, ELP, all the early Genesis progressive stuff, Dream Theater, all that, Queensryche. But it's very brave to go from one EP and a couple of singles to a full-blown concept album. And I think he did an amazing. I remember when it came out because I was at the basement when I think Laurie was like, "Yeah, look at this. This is coming out," and I was like, "Oh God, I didn't even know." Like it's such a great album. I know we're going to talk about the new release coming up. That's what we're chatting for today. But I think people should be listening to your back catalogue. I know you said it's not giant, so it's not going to it's not going to take them weeks to sit through it. But what you get from it is really world class for a small town. Can I just say that?
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's very digestible, really. It's quite. It's not long by progressive. It's like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
The longest songs. The last song's the longest. It's a blues song, but the rest are all between 3 and 5 minutes long. And
I love a long song at the end, though. That's my favourite when they play out with a long track, because you get to the end of the album and you almost to the point where you go, I don't want it to finish. But it keeps going. I've got a little bit more, and you just really enjoy that ending. I'm not abrupt endings on a concept album doesn't quite work. You do need that linger out, like The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. It just keeps going forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And music. I mean, musically, if you were to describe yourself musically, I mean, I hate putting people in boxes because it's not fair to you as a musician to put you in a in a square box and say you are this and you are that, because then it doesn't give you the freedom to go and do something else, because people just always look at you in that box, and I don't really.
You need to this style and this style only.
Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, people do it for comfort. Let's be honest. Iron Maiden, up to a certain point, did it very, very well. But if you were to say to someone, what will your influences be? If I've asked you who your influences were, that would then show us what kind of music you make.
Yeah, like I say, it is a tough one because of there's different stages of your musical growth. So when I was in say high school, back in the 80s, late 80s, sort of, I got into metal, I think, around probably 87 or 88.
Good years.
And I just consumed as much of it as I could. So I loved the glam rock stuff, the glam metal stuff, Wasp and
Motley Crue and
visuals, yeah. And then got into thrash around the same time.
Yeah, so a bit like me.
Testament, were one of my favourite bands growing up, and I was one of those guys that went, started going deep and looking for the obscure sort of. So the glam stuff, I was into Spread Eagle and Bane.
Oh my God, fantastic!
Yeah. And then I got a guitar and I got right into like the shrapnel shredder stuff.
Yes.
Like Benny Moore and Jason Becker and Marty Friedman, and that stuff was just like mind blowing. How the hell do you do that shit?
Yeah. I wouldn't know how to get started.
Crazy. So, and then basically, your tastes, you add more to that. So grunge came along, didn't take much from it, but loved Alice in Chains.
Yeah, same here. That's the only one I like of the lot of them.
And we get a lot of references to Alice in Chains, and I think it's mainly Dave's vocals and our vocal harmonies. I don't think I've ever read a review that doesn't mention Alice in Chains.
Really? I couldn't say that I would even hear that. Isn't that strange? I mean,
and it's like it's got to be the vocals, because it's musically it's not.
No, it's not in the same ballpark.
No. So, and that's why we actually called the latest album Chains.
Oh, cool. Okay, that makes sense.
Like Taliesin Chains.
Yeah.
And because lots of people, in all these reviews and stuff on the internet, like on YouTube and stuff I've seen, everyone pronounces it differently. It's like Taliesin or Taliesin, which I think is actually the proper pronunciation. But
yeah, we have to be able to speak Welsh, and unfortunately, my last week speaking Welsh person in my family was grandfather, and he's long gone. So
try it. Friggin' Taliesin, mate. Yeah,
it's Taliesin. You're in Australia. It's Taliesin, mate. Because there is another band with the same name in the States, and so you've got to be careful when you're Googling it, listeners. Get the right band. Band. Because I'd never heard of the American one at all. I didn't come across them at all.
Until only of them once a few years back.
It was purely because I was getting some background, and I was just Googling, and it popped up, and I went, "Oh, what? No, that's not Richard's band." So-
Let's face it, it's hard to come up with original band names these
oh,
days.
of course,
The
mate, of
ones
course.
that do come up with original band names are just, I'm looking at them going, that they're just random letters almost.
Oh, they are.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I've struggled. I've been in several bands in my youth, and naming them is so bloody hard. It got to the point
Yeah.
where I was in one band called Barry, just
Yeah.
called Barry, because we literally couldn't think of a bloody name, and we were just doing police covers. And I said, we could use a police song. And they went, no, I don't want to use the title of a police song. I went, I'll just Barry. Barry will do it. It's my father-in-law. And that was it. I was like,
We almost called it,
yeah.
but you can't put that on a t-shirt, can you? We call it gig.
Yeah, that's yeah. And you got the report going, how do you spell that? And then you got the Who come out from, where is it, from the Throat Singers? They'd probably sue you.
Yeah.
So you said there's
Where
a,
were we?
well, yeah. So we were about names. You're talking about your
Influence.
past, right? References, yeah. So influences. So what that shows to me is that you like all of us who love music, there's no boundaries. There shouldn't be boundaries at all. And that's what's wonderful about progressive music in general. There's no boundaries. Like, I love blues, jazz, everything. The only thing I can't do is rap. I'm just not a rap person. Just put rap and country and western. They sit over there, fine. You do your bit. Everything else is accessible for me, and I think that's the same with a lot of musicians, and it comes across in your music, because when you listen to Chains, I've been listening to a lot the last few days, and then the other two albums. I haven't got a physical copy of the other one. Sorry.
I have to sort it out.
Yeah, thank you. I haven't got one. I've got to get one. You have to re-listen to it several times. It's not something that, there's some keyboards on Chains. One of the tracks has got a keyboard piece in it.
All of them have keyboards
They
in
do.
them.
They all. But the first time through, I didn't pick it.
That's one of the things I've actually, because not so much on Faceless, there's a fair bit of just really subtle shit going on underneath.
Yeah.
On Disciple, there's a lot of keyboards, but still, and the same with Chains, is I try to have it there as like an atmospheric thing, but it's never like a big part. Yeah, there's one song on Disciple called Blindfold where it's mainly piano. But
yes, but
really, the keyboards are there just to, they're not mixed very high all the time. They're there, but they're not. Yeah, they just add something. And when you've got home recording and you've got a keyboard there in front of you, it's hard to resist. So I try to get to the point where if we play them live, you don't miss the keyboard. It doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, because I've seen you live loads of times, and I never even knew there was. I mean, you just don't pick it. I mean, it's sort of the kind of thing that now I hear it. So I go back and hear for them, and I'll do it when I listen to albums. I'll go and listen to just the guitar. I'll listen all the way through. Then I'll go listen to guitar. Then I'll listen to the bass. Then I'll listen to the drums, and I'll focus on the keys were really subtle, but they were beautiful. The second time round, it was like, oh, there's keys there, but more obvious than the other recordings. It felt.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, they're in all. There's all sorts of shit going on that's barely audible in the mix. Sometimes it's like, I'll just throw this fake oboe sound in there.
But don't you love that though? Don't you think that's the most delicious thing about recording yourself?
Yeah, and if you take it out now, as soon as I mute it, go, do I need that? And I mute it, go, yeah, I do need that. Go,
yeah,
you're in.
Yeah, your ear is subtle enough. Particularly you as being the creative mind, one of the creative minds behind it. When you're making it, you're going to hear it. I mean, let's be honest. Most people that listen to this podcast or listen to our music that we listen to are usually quite educated when it comes to their music. And so they will take time to digest it and listen to it and take it in as an art form. And as, of course, something to just enjoy. But the majority of the schmoes out there, they're radio fodder. They don't know what's going on between their ears. And I don't mean that in this way, I mean, just musically. And so it's lovely when bands like yourself, I was just talking to the guys from Project Ultimate Satan the other day, and they're the same thing, putting all this wonderful subliminal stuff in that only you will hear because you put it in. but
Yeah.
you know that it's vital to the sound of the album. And I think that's lovely. I think that's something you can do at a local level. You haven't got some corporate guy shill over your shoulder going, do you think you need the oboe?
Yeah, that's right. But like I say, I just try to make it so that if we do play that particular song live, that it doesn't need to be there. It's not. And there are certain songs, like the 3 songs on Chains we've been playing live for years, and the reason we recorded them because they're 20 years old, those songs. People come up and go at the merch stand after a gig, what's that song, the Park Bench Borders song? What album's that on? Which one of these 2 is, or these 3 albums is it on? It's like, we haven't recorded it yet. So
isn't that amazing? I love it, and that's what I like about this EP, because I've heard these songs live loads of times. I was talking to Wayne's partner Laurie about it. I was like, I'm sure I've heard these before.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, have I? But because when you're in the moment and you're at a gig, to be honest with you, I get in the moment. Sometimes I don't even know what bloody songs have been played from beginning to end. It just becomes, I have to grab the set list to go, okay, that was, because you're just in the moment. All right.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's nice that we now finally have recordings of them.
Yeah, it needed to happen.
Yeah, I think so. It's brilliant. What was the one I was looking at? Oh gosh, it's the closing track on the EP. I wrote it down.
Borders.
Borders. I love that one. That is a really proggy for me. That has a real sense of nostalgia. It's really open, as in Borders. It's really open. It's not a restrained track. Like it's really fluent, right? Which you get with progressive metal. Let's be honest, there's some progressive metal that is a bit too, and then you go, oh my God, what's going on? And then it's like your type of progressive metal, which links lots of different things together, which is the true term of progressive, and creates sounds that you wouldn't normally hear in the melodic metal or, in heavy metal in general, really.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah, that's what I just try and do. The amazing technical fast stuff is amazing.
Oh yes, it is amazing.
20 or 30 seconds, but if it's done, it loses its impact. So
yeah, because the soul's gone, the blues is gone. I mean, I keep saying this: the root of all good rock and roll is blues. It's there. There's a reason when we learn to play guitar, we learn to play blues, don't we? We learn our blues scales. It's there for a reason, because for me, it's the backbone of good rock and roll. And if you're going to just blister the thing with lots of technical notes, look how many notes I can put in a bar, it does tend to lose its, like you said, short period, wonderful. It's like a bit of fireworks.
Yeah, it's a tool.
It's a tool. Exactly. But when it's going like for 5 minutes in the song, it's like, oh, yeah, go out and make a cup of tea, come back. Oh, he's still going. Like,
like stuck in an elevator with that someone from work, you just won't shut the fuck up.
Oh God, yeah. You just want to go home.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So, where did you get the name from? We did talk about that. It was a Welsh name, so I want to go back because I'm curious.
I got a Welsh mythology book.
Oh.
We were just had it, and we were just like flicking through pages until we found something that worked.
That's brilliant.
It was just like, and then we looked up, the bard, and
yeah, the bard, Welsh bard, 6th century bard, yeah.
So yeah, that fits. That sort of suits the band as well. It's not just a random name.
Well, because it's also like he supposedly played at the court of King Arthur, didn't he? So if there is a King Arthur, he played it apparently. So it's it's good for the kind of mythos of the band as well, right? Because we all like a bit of mythos, don't we, right? The recording of, where do you record? If you're in Canberra, like you record you have a studio at your place, do you? Or
Ruben had a studio at his place. He moved. Or he's still, technically still owns the house. He's just
not there.
Renting it. He's just not there. So yeah, most of the stuff I do in my bedroom.
Wow.
Like my studio is, I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment, so it's at the end of my bed. There's a little desk with a little TV screen and that I use as a monitor and a tower and a two input interface.
Wow.
So most of the guitars are done through either an Axe FX or, I haven't really tried miking. I just can't get my amp loud enough in here in a apartment complex.
We can't, exactly. Yeah. Unless you hate your neighbours to hate you or something.
Yeah, that's right. So I've got lots of different bits and pieces I can stuff around with to get different guitar tones, and
we're so lucky that way nowadays that you can because it does not sound that way. That's why I had to ask, because it doesn't come across as a bedroom production, if you know what I mean. It doesn't come across as that way. It comes across in a really, really plush production. All of your albums. Yeah.
So basically I bought the gear, like the Pro Tools and all that sort of stuff, around 2014 or 2015. And that's when I recorded the guitar stuff for Faceless, and I did it all wrong. Did it way too wrong. Had full. Like, to get a good guitar tone, you only need the gain about halfway.
Oh no, you had it whacked up, did you?
This sounds good by itself. So as soon as you add the bass and the drums and that, then it's just a big sloppy mess. Yeah. So without boring everyone, like, Ruben was going to mix it, and then his studio burnt down and we lost everything.
Oh no, man, then, that's no good.
And so a few years later, I found all bits and pieces of files. It's like, oh, here's the drums for this track. Oh, where's the bass? Oh, it's on this hard drive. Oh yeah, cool. Now we've got the song back.
Oh, wonderful.
And then I just learned to mix by watching YouTube videos, like, how do I make a shitty guitar sound better? Through EQ and compression and things like that. So it was really just, Faceless was the full learning experience. And then when I did the stuff for Disciple, it was really, I had a better idea of what I was doing. But you learn every time you record something. Like, you listen back and go, oh, that's a bit boomy. That bass, too loud, or those toms are way too boomy. I need to tame them next time. And you just pick up little bits and pieces.
But that's what I love about this local scene in that respect. Like, I'm a big lover of new wave of British heavy metal. It's my, really my bedrock of my heavy metal foundation. And you listen to their albums. I know that this was back in the 80s when recording qualities were different, but it does sound, you listen to a first album by, say, someone like, I don't know, Diamond Head or Tigers of Pain. Yeah.
You mentioned Diamond Head. Like, I actually used their Coffin Train album, a recent one, as something to compare with when I was mixing Chains. Just like, okay, that's actually a really good fucking sounding album.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
It's like, like, what am I missing? What sounds? What's lacking from mine that they have in there? So I didn't get anywhere near it, but still.
Oh, but still, it's still fantastic.
It's still funny to mention Diamond Head, yeah.
Yeah,
great.
Because if you think about that, back then, the technologies were a lot less, and they often, you listen to those early albums and people get put off by them because it sounds like they're singing through a paper bag, or it's in a different room or whatever, because that's how they used to record it. Put the amp in the bath, put the mic in another room, all that kind of stuff. We're so lucky that we can do our stuff from an interface, but you still make it sound, because there is a way. I've listened to a lot of albums that are made like this, and they can be really flat, just flat, and you've got them on, and I'm getting no soundscape at all. I don't feel I'm in the music or anything. Whereas, but like you guys, just hit the mark, man. And Canberra is so good for that at the moment. Like, some of the stuff that's coming out of this small town, let's be honest, capital but still a small town, is phenomenal. And you put this again, I'm going to show this, but you put this again on, right, the first EP, it doesn't sound like it was made in a bedroom, man. It doesn't sound like it was made in anyone's home studio. It sounds like you've gone off somewhere to a nice studio and had it amazingly mixed and produced, and spent weeks working on the desk. It's
I do spend a fair bit of time. I get very nitpicky.
Well, that's what you want, though. That's quality, though. See, that's where the good comes from, isn't it? Not just it'll be done. You're like,
yeah, definitely the flat thing where it's just one-dimensional.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You
And
like to
Karen, sorry, Karen.
just try and keep a little bit of the human element in it. Everything, like a lot of modern metal's just so on the grid. They all use the same drum samples, guitar plugins, bass plugins even. It's just the same. Yeah.
It's all on a click to a grid. Yeah.
It does sound, sometimes it sounds amazing depending on what type of music. Like there'll be bits where you go, fuck that just sound, but it's robotic and it's not reproducible live.
Yeah. And that's another thing, isn't it? It's quantized, like it's just a bit too, like I saw a really good documentary about John Bonham's drums, like, one of the greatest drummers of all time. And they were playing one of these pieces of music. And then they said, right, what now we're going to do? They took all the stripped all the stuff back and just had the drum bit. And you could hear it was sloppy. It's human, right? He's not on the beat, off the beat, back on the beat. He's missed bits and pieces. And then they went, this is what we would do now. And they quantized it. They took the same piece of music and cleaned it, and it sounded shit. Yeah. It sounded shit. Yeah. And he said, this is, you took the human element out from it. And as soon as you take that out from it, like you said, it's just robotic. And I know the kids like that. I know that some of the kids like that, but no, it's not for me. Like it. No.
And so, I mean, you fix stuff that sounds like totally shit. You have to.
Oh, of course.
But there's so many. I cringe at some of the guitar playing, just like, I should have done that again. But at the same time, it's is what it is, and
it is. All art is painful, man. All creation is difficult, and you put it out in the world. You've got to put that out. You put it out in the world, Richard. You go, right, everyone. This is us. This is our soul, bearing our soul and our talent. And you want, whether you like it or not, there's going to be people who will comment badly, and there's going to be people comment who like me who love it. There's always going to be idiots or ups and downs, right? You can't please everyone.
Not everyone's cup of tea.
No, but it's difficult. I wouldn't want to do what you're doing. Like I said, I've played in bands. This sort of stuff is easy chatting to people, but to put forward your creation, like I went to art college and I paint. I hate people looking at my paintings. I bloody hate it. So the fact that you can go, oh yeah, here's the world. Here's my EP. I'd be sitting in a dark room for a week going, is it over yet? Can I come out?
Yeah. There's definitely the kind of set time schedules for it.
Yeah.
So even though there's no record, so I could have spent another 6 months fine-tuning those 3 songs on Chains and just check, the bass is a little bit too loud in that section, or because I fucking hate cymbals, man. I hate mixing cymbals.
I love hearing them. I wouldn't want to mix them.
I never know if they sound good. It's just like you lose. It's like it's just white noise in the background ruining this.
It's funny you should say that, because that's the first thing I listen to in the drums is cymbals.
So we said we're going to release this. We're going to release this in January, and got it in on the last day of the month. But
I saw that. It got me by complete surprise. I'm sitting there doing New Year's Eve stuff, end of month stuff, and suddenly I get this pop up on my Facebook. It says new Taliesin. I'm like, what? I wasn't expecting that at all. That's great. Have you had good feedback from its release?
Yeah. Haven't really sent it out for it's just been people on Facebook saying, yeah, sounds great, love the video.
Oh, I love the video.
Lots of good feedback on the video, so which is cool.
I should actually come to that point in a second, but so I'm hoping that you do get really good airplay with this. It's difficult now because there's no radios and people don't buy albums such anymore. It's all the clickable, downloadable, streaming stuff.
I've seen a few of the songs pop up on those, those Spotify new release things, which is
that's good.
Yeah.
Get
a few more plays that way. So
well, I mean, I find a lot of unusual bands I've never heard of by accidentally just leaving the thing play through, and suddenly something will pop up.
Something pops up afterwards, and you go, oh.
Yeah, you just don't do what I did. I was painting it was lockdown, right? I'm painting the lounge room. I don't know, I'm just painting the lounge room. And I'm a big Billy Bragg fan, so I like Billy Bragg. I'm listening, and he does a country thing I'm not a fan of, and I forgot to turn off the Spotify, and I've gone off to do things, come back, and my whole algorithm was Good Old Boys. I'm like, no, it's country.
We found what you like.
I was like, what? It took me ages to get that crap off my algorithm. It's like, dear side. Quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, go on, Karen. Sorry, you said.
I was just saying that the thing for me is when that happens is try and actually save it, just so I can go back to it.
Well, that's always you forget, don't you?
Yeah. And so I've absolutely loved and gone, this is amazing. And I can't, a day later, I can't remember their name, the name of the song.
Oh God! Or you're away from your phone, so you can't see the name of it. So you're doing something with your wireless headphones on. It's going. Okay, this is really good. You rush back, and it's not there anymore. And you're like, what the fuck was that one? Oh, skip. Okay, but then you're like, oh, I ain't got time for that. And off we go.
Yeah.
Old men problems, I think that is.
Yeah.
So you've sort of locally it's doing well. Hopefully we get it to be listened to globally, Richard. I really would love for that dearly to happen, because I think we have to represent. It's a small island. I mean, it's a big island, a small nation.
Yeah.
And we make some absolutely fantastic music here. God's honest, like just amazing. And it blows my mind that I came to this city in '97 when there was just, the airport was a shed. There was one shop, and the adverts on TV were cheap dip. This was the town I came to in '97 from London.
Yeah.
And it's grown, and the scene has grown, and blessed, I'm so proud of the Canberra scene. You guys, you're playing with Ailstorm coming up, aren't you?
Yeah. March.
Yeah. How good is that? And that's almost sold out.
It's sold out.
Sold out.
I know, it was sold out before we even got on the bill.
Isn't that amazing? Because I was talking to, what's his name, from Ailstorm, and he was saying that he's really likes playing Canberra. He's really looking forward to it. And I said, yeah, it goes off down here. And I'm just so... See, that's great, because there'll be people coming to that show from Sydney, maybe, who may have never heard of your music. And then suddenly a little bit more, That's
right. Look, if 15 people out of 600 or 700 go away interested in what we did, or want to look us up, or grab something from the merch, yes, that's great.
Oh, look, mate, it's always good for merch, right? Merch is always, that's where the money lies, isn't it? Unfortunately, it's where t-shirts and CDs.
Traveling t-shirt salesmen, they say. So.
Yeah. Oh, dear. And and again, so for people that may not get there in March because it's sold out, who will see you in the future, I'd like to say that you such a tight sound. I never come away from your gigs and go, wasn't very good. It's always a tight sound. You might do, because you're the musician. You're the other side of it, right? Speaking of which, this is a funny story. I'll tell you, you've been a musician. I was in this Black Sabbath at school, this Black Sabbath cover band, and mate Trev, and I'm playing away. Was it Trev or was it Terry? Oh, one of the T words. Anyway, I was playing bass, and Geezer Butler's bass are not that easy, mate. I mean, it's not that easy. And I don't pick. I'm a finger player. I can't pick to save my life. And I fucked it royally up, man. I was way off, way out. Just, I don't know where I was. I got distracted by someone. I don't know why. I think they were playing Paranoid and I was playing something else. Whatever. It was. Anyway, we went. We got pulled off stage because it was that bad. We got pulled off, and I remember mate was in the school toilets and he kicked the urinal off the wall. You know the little urinals? He literally kicked it. He was so angry with me that he put his foot through the urinal and put it up to the floor. It was oh God, it was hilarious. It's one of those times where you go, yeah, maybe I'm not built for this.
Yeah, maybe in my younger years I had a few shockingly bad gigs, mainly through alcohol and not being able to play.
I don't know how people do it. I don't know how musicians get stoned and drunk and be able to perform.
I remember at one gig being so drunk that I went to click on my wah pedal and lost my balance and fell over the back of the amp. And
That's great. You're lying there, backless, going.
Yeah, I better get up. Out of tune, keep playing, but just.
No one's going to notice. It's just all shut up.
Yeah.
Oh God. But often though, when you do see a live band and they do something funny, something gets lost or dropped, you don't care if it's a note here or a note there. It's you guys who perform it, because it's your baby, it's your music, you're the performer. So us in the audience, if Wayne doesn't hit the cymbal properly, or you miss a note, or the bass player is bummed out, it doesn't win. Yeah. It's not. I mean, unless you're one of those real kind of hardcore nerd fans that, and I'm sure you do get them, that stand there. I don't think, it's rock and roll, man. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
It's human. It's human. I mean, you can't tell me you play the same solos, note for note, every time.
No. I mean, there's a couple that I try to, but there's some that are just, you just know what key they're in, and just.
That's it. I mean, you get the main bit of it, and people go, "Oh, that's the solo," and then just flourish a bit around it, because
I used to do that a lot with the when we did Pink Floyd shows. I don't know if you ever saw any of those.
I don't, because I'm not a huge Floyd fan, but my friends would have probably done. Yes, who are massive Floyd fans.
Yeah, so we did quite a few of those Floyd shows before Ruben left, but that we played, it was a lot heavier.
Yeah.
And my guitar solos were just like, if Dave Gilmour was dead, he'd be spinning in his grave. They were just, they're just shred fests. It's just like.
Because the genius of Gilmour is not what he plays; it's the space between the notes, right?
There was no space. It's just like.
Oh, I've had so many arguments with people over Floyd. It's one of those weird bands that it never connected with me. And I'd say, they're not a prog band. They're just a sort of rock band. And the arguments I'd have with people, and my dear friend John, who will be listening to this, will know we've had these conversations about this. But I appreciate it. I mean, Gilmour's an amazing guitarist. To even try and emulate him, good luck. I wouldn't want to try.
I mean, part of it was just me being lazy, just going, I don't want to learn the solos. That's too much like hard work. I just learnt the songs, but I'll just wing the solos. And then I get carried away.
Well, what's nothing wrong with that, my friend? That's rock and roll. Like we said, it's the flame, isn't it? It's what we go for. I'm one of those musicians, one of those fans, or I can either be in the moment, or if I want to nerd out and watch the guitarist or the bass player, I will just go to the side stack and watch them intently. I remember when Venom came over, and I'm a huge Venom fan. Like Venom Inc. came in.
Yeah, saw that.
And Tony's a friend of mine, and I was watching, Mantis on guitar, and I was like, oh my God, if you told 16-year-old Tony he'd be standing an inch away from Mantis playing his solos, I was literally like just glued to this guy doing the solos, just like, oh my God, it's Mantis. And you just get those, and that's wonderful about Canberra. Is the bands come here and you're only a few inches away from them.
And quite a few.
You get to mingle with them afterwards.
Yeah, that's right. Had plenty of good chats with, guys from Unleash the Archers and.
Oh yeah, great band.
They were great.
Great band. Yeah, and again, I think also the beauty of the music scene here is that it doesn't feel in Canberra, and I could be wrong because I'm not in the music. I don't physically make music, but it doesn't feel like there's lots of rivalry. You know what I mean? It feels like there's a camaraderie here in the local scene. Yeah, I get that feeling.
You don't see a lot of the band drama on Facebook that you might see from Melbourne bands.
Yeah,
you get some doozies there. Great.
Oh,
just like
mate.
Get the popcorn and
sit back and watch the wreck. Yes, exactly right. In slow motion.
I think at one stage we did a gig with Deprivation, and I was like, and it was just after Disciple came out. I was like, let's just try and start something, because they played a bucket. So I was like, they're miming, they use backing tracks.
You arch instigator,
but they're all good blokes, so
they are.
They are.
They were decent. I mean, I've seen them here in Canberra a couple of times. But it's just I think it's just the Australian scene in general. I just don't feel there's a lot of animosity. I just don't feel that way. And maybe it's because I'm always in a positive mood, and watching things with a positive frame of mind. I don't know, but I don't see any negativity at gigs, not really, apart from the idiots that get drunk and want to kick me in the back or something. Then I guess negativity from me then. That's about it.
Yeah, in general, everyone's pretty cool at a metal gig.
Yeah, but the quality of the music here, man. Witch Skull, you guys. I mean, it's just it's international class music, Richard. It really is. I feel like I'm being really over the top, but that's how I feel about it, because I put on any of your stuff and I don't feel like it's, if you to play me this 10 years ago, where was this made? I'd say, Melbourne, Sydney, overseas. Was it mixed in America? Was it produced? It doesn't feel like a small production. And I think that is a real boon for you guys, because if people can't hear that, then they're obviously deaf, in my opinion.
No, it's definitely something that's worked on, and just keep trying to get better. It's like, anything else. If you love something, you keep doing it. In theory, there should be improvement.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't it 10,000 hours or something?
That's right.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Not about halfway there.
Yeah. Oh, mate. I remember getting my first guitar when I was 14. It was a second-hand one from an op shop. It had no pickups in it. And I just got the body, and my brother bought some pickups. He's an electrician, and he wired in these two humbuckers. It was awful, man. It was a terrible thing. And then my mum got me this this Fender copy, which never stayed in tune, because it just wouldn't stay in tune. It was awful. You'd use a trem, which I'm never good at anyway, and instead you go, suddenly it's way out of tune, and you
get one shot with that
one
trem
shot,
over.
one shot.
Make it count, because you're going to spend the next 10 minutes retuning it. Yeah.
Oh, mate. And then I bought so many guitars over the past with Floyds on them, thinking I'm going to do a Kerry King. I can't do that. It just sounds awful. It just sounds like a mess. So I go, oh no, now I'll just chalk the trem up.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use it.
Yeah, I've done that with a couple of guitars. Yeah, after a while, I think the older I get, the more frustrated I get with Floyd Rose guitar, although I need them for some of the
they're wonderful things. It's just like I could never get the tension right. It was either too sloppy, too heavy, too tight, and then I'd try and do all the woo shit like everyone does, and end up making it sound like I was farting or something. I think I give up. I must say, from my bass, I know where I am with that. Don't need all the bells and whistles. They put it straight into the amp. That's usually the case, isn't it? Like, although I do occasionally use a bit of chorus and a bit of wah now and again, but very rarely. Just straight into the amp and blow your ears off.
Bass, stuff is don't add a lot to a bit of distortion sometimes with the heavier stuff, just to beef up the guitar.
That's it. I mean, I had this amp years ago that a mate of mine gave me. It was they're called Spiders. I don't know if you remember them, but the old Spider amps. It was 200 watt. This thing was, and on one, my windows rattled. So I could never bloody use a thing, and I had to give it away because it was just useless to me. Like, when at the time I wasn't in a band, wasn't playing on stage, so I couldn't get it beyond under one. It was just
look at a little bit, try and get it on half. Yeah.
Bang! It was a valve as well, so it was a beautiful thing, but mate, it was just too much. So in the end, I played mainly without an amp. Spent many of my years learning without the amp, just playing on your own.
I still do that just because I'm too lazy to go get a lead and plug everything in.
Do you know what? Yes, I'm with you. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely with you.
I mean, the amp's literally, you can hear that? That's where my amp is. Too much effort.
I see your guitar on the back wall as well. You get those days, right? You just go, I'll just sit here. If I get up and get the lead in the amp, I've lost impetus. I don't want to bother anymore. Right now I feel just in the right space, But as I was saying, love the EP. So the video, I'll quickly check the video before we finish up. But the video was something I wasn't expecting, Richard. It's a great video.
Oh, thank you. I've been sitting on that for about a year.
Really?
So
Aye.
Borders was the first song that we recorded,
Hmm.
and then just because of life and stuff like that, I was waiting for Ruben to send his guitar tracks from the States and Turk to send his bass tracks for the other song. So in the meantime, because that song was pretty much done, I just put the video together with we just played with Riot City. So the live
Oh,
footage.
I was there. I was there.
So live footage from on most of the live footage on the video is from that gig that Jeff Fisher, who's a local who does a lot of video stuff for people at the
Yeah.
basement, legend of a bloke.
I know, Jeff.
He sent me through the stuff, said, do you want to use it or do you want to, just as a live, just for us to watch? I was like, cool, can I use the footage? But try and sync it into the song.
Brilliant.
We played it a lot faster live, so trying to get it to sync up in places didn't quite.
It was great live. That was a great gig, man. I got really bad COVID.
Oh.
that gig, man. Holy shit, but it was worth every minute of it.
Yeah. Those guys from Riot City were awesome.
Mate, they were a blast. The whole lineup, man, because it was Temptress as well. It was such a great fucking night. And here's general topic for the video, which I will put a link into the show notes for people to see the video. We'll do that, and Spotify for your EP and your albums. But this is one of my bones of contention, Richard. Okay, and it has been for many a year. Is that we are privileged. We go to the basement. We go often, right? We go in there and we pay a handful of dollars, $40. It's nothing. What can you get for $40? I mean, even I don't smoke, but even cigarettes are more expensive than $40, right?
Smokes is $40.
Right, there you go, right? So 20 cigarettes, which is a fleeting moment, and really bad for you, right?
Yeah.
Well, you pay, and you go in that night. I think it was like $45, and we had Temptress, we had Riot City. It was, I know it was only a small crowd and in the back room, which I particularly like. That's my favorite stage, actually. But why, Richard? It should be more. Like, it blows the mind that people still complain that they're paying $40. And you're like, what? That's $100 ticket, easy, of anyone's money that night.
When you see the price of some concerts as well these days.
Oh my God, I just bought, yeah.
Still, when you're paying $200 minimum almost for a concert these days for an international band.
Yeah, we're going to see the Pistols, and $260 for a seat because my wife doesn't want to stand up. She doesn't like to do the standing business. And fair enough, that's all right. We're going to get a seat. $260 at the end, at the, not the Enmore, the other one, the Pavilion.
Yeah, Pavilion.
Yeah. I mean, Christ, mate. It's like, I remember looking at the tickets going, shit, Maiden. I got really great Maiden tickets for this.
Yeah, they were $180 or something like that.
They were cracking. It wasn't a particularly great show, but it was this time round. But it was good.
Yeah. It's still Maiden. Yeah.
Oh, it's still Maiden. Any Maiden is good Maiden. I don't really care. I mean, for years I was a snob and say I won't listen to the Blaze Bayley albums.
Yeah.
Oh no. And I fucking love them.
I haven't gone back to them. I haven't revisited them yet.
But I did. That's right. So for this show, I did for the podcast. I'll go and revisit them, and I actually they're really good. They're not Dickinson, and they're not Di'Anno. No, by no means. But they're still a nice interlude into the band. But we sad to see Di'Anno die last year, wasn't it? Like it was a shock because I met him. Did you see him at the Basement?
I saw him at the Basement like
twice.
A while. I saw him the first time he played.
Yeah.
Where he stormed off stage because we wouldn't see. What was it? The Ramones song?
The Ramones. I loved it. I was like, I met him afterwards. That was amazing. He's like,
he's like, hey, let's go. And no one sang back. It's like, well, fuck yous.
Yeah, it's brilliant, man. I had a friend of mine who left because he butchered Remember Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I said to him, what? It doesn't matter. You are 3 foot away from metal royalty. He is godlike status in music. And you go, buy the CD. Yeah. His voice was never going to be the same.
No, what? That was like 30 years on or something like that.
Yeah. Because Killraiser was his support band, I remember.
Yeah, that's right.
It's such a good show. Man, and that was getting pennies. I think it was like $25. I think I paid for that ticket.
Yeah, it wasn't much.
No, and I got to meet him before at the bar. I had a drink, signed a couple of my records. Just a geezer, And then the second time he came, I think he was with a stick. He could barely walk. I remember the second time I saw him. It was with Blaze Bailey, actually.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But he barely walked. But, that's what I'm saying about Canberra. You just get that. And the prices. See, for me, as a mere mortal, just listening to your music, is someone who, to create it. I just think you need to people should be giving more from their art, And it does it.
These days, unfortunately, there's so much of it, so much available, so it's hard to find. And people don't spend the time listening to music like we would have growing up,
No.
The whole buying an album, and that's the only album you're going to listen to for 2 weeks till you get paid again.
Oh, my God. The scrimping and scraping to get a single. Yeah.
So you bought, I remember you used to buy stuff just for the album cover. You'd never heard the band, but that looks like a cool album. I'm going to buy that. And you go home. I remember doing that with Leatherwolf. And it's like, that's all I listened to. It was like, I think it was one of the self-titled Leatherwolf. I think they had 2 self-titled albums.
Was that one with the really bad hand-drawn cover?
Yeah, with the wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember getting that, and that's all I listened to for like a month. Like, because that's all I had. That was the only new music I had. So.
Oh, I was lucky that I got 4 older brothers, and so I would constantly go into their different rooms because they were all in different age groups. And there was one into reggae, one into prog, one was into punk. There was one that was into heavy rock. And so I just, as a young boy, sort of go in and steal a record because it looked good and walk put it on my record player, which was a shitty one, right? Like with a built-in speaker. But I was talking to I've got a show coming out this week, and I was talking about the band Witchfind. Yeah. And I bought that album purely because of the cover. I was 14 years old. It has the devil on the front. I want that. I'm taking that home. And it's one of those albums that I'll never forget buying. It's just wonderful. But I played it till it was thin, and then it got stolen.
That's one of those things I'm trying to be more mindful of, is because I'm always looking for new shit, like always. But by doing that, you never give anything the time it deserves. I find I don't. I don't give albums more than, if it doesn't hit me within the first 2 listens, it may not get played again for a long, long time. So it's finding something I like and then actually going, you know what? I'm not going to look for anything else until I've given this its full. Because I'd like people to do that with our music, I'd like people to sit down to disciple 5 times and then you'll get it.
Well, and that's exactly what I do. And then people of our age do, like you said. I've got, as I mentioned before, my friend John. What he would do is we often do these things where we go listen to a whole band's back catalogue. So we message each other. So like last year we did Jethro Tull because I'm a huge Tull fan, and we just went through album by album, each of us our own separate ways, and chatted about it between ourselves. Yeah. And it was a really nice way of reconnecting with that music that you would never have listened to for such a long time. It's like with Maiden. I don't listen to the 2000 era Maidens. I don't go back to. I can't remember the last time I really went back to say, what was the one? Matter of Life or Death. Dance of Death. It's just, it's got a terrible production sound for me. It's too thin. That digital 2000 sound. That really CD. Where everything was too loud.
What's his name? What's the guy that's been producing him and mixing him? He's not a bad producer, and the Caveman guy, Kevin Shirley.
Yeah, Shirley, yeah. All
his stuff with Maiden's been lacking.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. It just doesn't have it's lost its sort of roundness. It's quite flat in its audio. Like you put it on and it's great. Don't get me wrong. Death of the Celts, one of my favorite songs of the last 10 years. The bass part in that makes me want to cry. I love it. But there's just unlike your music, which is contrasting. We'll get back to you on that one. Yours has texture. You almost feel it. right? Whereas some of that Maiden stuff feels a little bit flat. And
It doesn't
yeah,
out of the room.
no,
Like if you got to connect and you go for a walk to the toilet or into the bedroom or something quickly, and the good productions will follow you.
yes, they will. They will. I always say this to people, and I mean this sincerely, but one of the most important members of the band that's not mentioned is the production, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's that part of the music that we don't think of, that we don't engage with as listeners. We don't. It's not. In old days, you used to pick a record up and you go, "Oh, who produced this?" You had the knowledge. My brother would have the knowledge where he'd go, "Oh God, it's produced by him." Nah, and he put the record back. Like they had that knowledge. They'd look at the production, the engineer, the recording studio. Oh, Fairview, great.
It was going to sound like if it was like a Martin Birch production or
oh yeah, rest his soul. God rest his soul.
Yeah, he did some good ones.
Didn't he? Didn't he just? And again, because he gave it body, like a good wine. It had good body to it. It had something you could chew on. Which again, I'm going to come back to this. I keep doing. I'll show it again, but woohoo! Those that can't see, I'm showing the album, the first EP. It's just got body to it, mate, and you should be really proud of it. All of you, every single one of you, should be proud of it. They're all such nice, unassuming guys. You meet Wayne. I've known Wayne for years. You meet him in the bar, and you wouldn't know he played in a progressive metal band. He just stands there quietly drinking his drink. Yeah, quite blankly looking into the distance. And then you see him play, and he's just. And then you see him play, and he's got such a great economy of movement. He's not. He's just he gets it with the economy of movement, which is always a great drummer. Doesn't have to bash the shit out of the drum kits. Just creates that sound.
Everyone in the band's great dudes.
Oh no, every single one of you guys. Yeah.
That's why we've been able to stick together for so long with pretty much the same lineup. And the only guy that's Kristen, who a former bass player who was on the Taliesin, he's still one of our best friends. Turns up to gigs.
Yeah, there you go. See, I love it. I love the community feeling of it, and it shines through your music, mate. It shines through the music. So I'm really, really pleased. So Change, even though it's older music for you, it's new on record. So it came out on the 31st of Jan, and it's on available on all streaming platforms. I'm sure everyone can grab it where they want to grab it.
We decided not to go physical product with it, just because it's only 3 songs, and selling, like, the shipping for international stuff is like us $30-something to go to Scotland or $30 to go to the States. You don't make you can't charge $30 shipping.
No, you can't. No.
So it's like you take a hit on the shipping, and then before you know it, by the time you've gone down the post office, filled in all the bloody customs forms and stuff. Yeah. If you value that time, like say it, half an hour, that's $20.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just you love getting your shit out there over to people, but we're not doing it for money, obviously.
No. It's why often I don't buy bands. There's like a lot of bands from America and Europe on Bandcamp, which I go, oh, amazing. And you've got €20, brilliant. And then suddenly it's €60 for postage. And you're like, no, thank you. No, what a fucking. Yeah. And often I've had to go directly to the band and go, look, if I pay you, I can't. The €60 is ridiculous. You're not getting that €60. I know you're not. They're not going to, and so it's just, it really irks me.
It's one of the reasons and if I do, I very rarely buy CDs these days. I bought one today. I bought the Aryan Human Equation remaster pre-order.
Well, that's good.
Because I love Aryan.
yeah, there you go. See, so you do because you love it, right? That's the key.
And he always puts out really special products, like they're all massive books full of discs and pictures.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Like good quality product really is beautiful.
Puts the effort in and.
Yeah, and you can though. That's the key, isn't it? Right, that's the key. But as I said, we're on all streaming platforms, so people can hear amazing 3 tracks. They can still pick up copies of your records though on CD, the older product. That's all out there to get.
Faith and Disciple available on disc.
Yep.
We do have copies of Tally of Lies and Sid somewhere.
I love my copy. It's not going anywhere.
But yeah, I'll hook you up with the other 2, my friend.
Yeah. Thank you, Breed, because I don't have face. I just don't have it. Like, so that would be great. But I don't know why I didn't pick it up. Maybe maybe at that gig when you were supporting. Who did you? Yeah, I think I was probably too drunk or too.
Or we just weren't at the merch table. We're shit.
You may not have been. You may not have been.
Sometimes we even bring the merch and don't bother setting up. That's how bad we are. So,
mate, it's all about the music at the end of the day. That's the main thing, really. But anyway, thanks for coming and joining us, joining me on the show. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to talk music with a local legend and someone that's really played hard through the years and really loves their music. You know, it's not a passing fad for you. This is your life, and it comes across in the music. Change is a brilliant EP. I'm really pleased that you've now got that locked down for prosperity for everyone.
Working on the new stuff for later this year.
Oh, mate, that is going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to it, and we'll have you back on then when that gets released. We'll chat about that as well, because that I want to say this: keep music local, but also keep it international as well, because I love local music. It's almost a bit like gatekeeping. You want the world to see you, but you don't want them. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want to be that person, but sometimes I feel like being that person.
I'd hate for you to go, oh, fucking Taliesin. I remember when they were cool.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there's loads of bands I've seen when they were small and then completely go ignore you when they're big, and it's sort of like, well, hang on, mate, if it wasn't for Mr. Me buying my $10 ticket, you wouldn't be in States touring. Yeah. But different people, I suppose. You know, right. People are people, exactly right. And thank you. We've had some thunderstorms in the background here, so been pretty bloody loud.
Yeah.
Thanks again. And this goes out next week, I believe. So on the Wednesday, I'll send you a link. Anyway,
brilliant.
But in the show notes, I will put the link to the video and to all of your and to your other songs on Facebook, not Facebook, Spotify or whatever, whichever streaming platform you choose to use.
Yeah, I know it's on Spotify, but you just stick it on DistroKid and they just send it out to whoever. So,
well, exactly. Yeah, it's the same as this show. I just go send and it goes everywhere.
It goes to Apple, Deezer, YouTube, wherever. Yeah.
Well, enjoy the rest of your night, my friend, and keep making brilliant music. Keeping Canberra. I tried the wrong thing. Keep Canberra being the centre of metal, because it used to be the capital of Australian metal one time. I'm lucky to come back that now. It would be brilliant. But,
plenty of good bands. So.
Mate, it's fantastic. I mean, I remember seeing Butterfly Effect here on the top of Tuggeranong Car Park, Hyperdome Car Park, student festival for $15. Like, they hadn't signed yet.
Yeah.
And it was like crazy. Like, now they're massive, right? It's crazy.
Unreal. So you go to Arsenal?
Yes, I will be there.
Excellent. Well, I'll hook you up with some stuff.
All right, man. That'd be great. Thanks. Cheers, man. All right.
Awesome.
But I'll see you there, right? Because it's going to go off.
Fucking great. Looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah, man. It's going to be amazing. Take care, man. Thanks for coming on. Bye, mate.
Bye. See ya.
See ya.
Tall Oaks is an award-winning assisted living community serving seniors for over 35 years in the heart of Reston. Come experience Tall Oaks for yourself. Visit talloaksal.com or call 703-834-9800 to schedule a personal tour.